Today is Friday, May 10th. We'll tell you what happened when former President Trump's team questioned a top witness in his criminal trial. Also, how Israel's prime minister is responding to one of the worst setbacks ever in Israeli-American relations. Plus, another cyber attack that's disrupting patient care at a major hospital system. A controversial ad that Apple is now apologizing for. And a record-breaking pro sports contract for a 14-year-old. Those stories and even more news to know in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The adult film actress at the center of former President Trump's criminal case has wrapped up her role at the trial. Stormy Daniels was on the stand again yesterday for hours of tense cross-examination. The former president's lawyers accused her of making up an affair with their client and then profiting off of it. They say her experience in the porn industry made her an expert at telling fake stories about sex and making them seem real. To that, Daniels said if the Trump story was untrue, quote, I would have written it a lot better. Trump's team also questioned why she was intent on selling the story, noting that she could have just held a news conference for free. But Daniels said money wasn't her main motivation, just a bonus. Again, parts of the testimony were detailed and far removed from what the former president has actually been charged with. Because remember, this is really about financial crimes. Prosecutors say Trump disguised business records to cover up a hush money payment to Daniels to buy her silence during the 2016 presidential campaign. Now, Trump says he's the one who's being silenced. His team asked the judge to modify a gag order that limits what the president can say about Daniels in public. The judge denied that motion, as well as the defense team's second request for a mistrial. As you know, Trump is pleading not guilty and insists he did nothing illegal. The trial is set to resume this morning with testimony from a former White House aide. Israel's prime minister says he won't be swayed by warnings from its closest ally. As we told you yesterday, President Biden gave Israel an ultimatum, saying the U.S. would not send Israel any more offensive weapons if the Israeli military goes ahead with a ground invasion of Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinians are taking shelter. Well, to that, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says, if needed, quote, we will fight with our fingernails. The White House restated that it will keep giving Israel supplies needed to defend itself. The U.S. will also keep offering Israel alternatives to a major ground operation in Rafah. A limited operation is already underway, as well as airstrikes, and Hamas fighters have been firing on Israeli tanks, too. Now, tens of thousands of Palestinians are starting to flee Gaza, even though some don't know where they're going to go. As a UN relief agency put it, quote, nowhere is safe. Aid also has not been able to enter through southern border crossings in days because of Israel's military operations. Fuel is especially in short supply. Separately, ceasefire talks have been paused for now. But the U.S. government says it hasn't given up hope. So, to be continued. Further north, attacks are ramping up between Russia and Ukraine. This week, the Russian military hit several power plants across Ukraine, straining its electrical grid and leaving Ukrainian civilians in the dark. Then Ukrainian drones struck 2 Russian oil depots and a refinery, including one that's deep in Russia's territory. Analysts say Ukraine's goal is to target facilities that supply fuel for Russian tanks, ships, and planes. Plus, the strikes can undermine Russia's energy complex, which accounts for about a third of Russia's federal budget revenue. The U.S. has actually asked Ukraine to stop its attacks on Russian oil refineries for fear they could impact global oil markets. But Ukraine doesn't seem to have been swayed. Despite the attacks, Russia celebrated Victory Day yesterday. That's the day in Russia that marks the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. And Russian President Putin used the occasion to show off Russia's strategic forces, saying they're combat ready and that, quote, we will not allow anyone to threaten us. There are some new COVID-19 variants circulating around the U.S. A reminder that the virus is still around and continuing to evolve. The new variants are nicknamed Flirt. They don't appear to cause different or more serious symptoms from other variants, but they could be more easily transmitted. Experts expect that old at-home COVID-19 tests will still work and that available vaccines will keep protecting against serious illnesses. So, all of that said, the pandemic outlook right now is the best it's been in more than 4 years. COVID-19 hospitalizations are at record lows, and the CDC expects that hospitalizations will stay stable, at least for a few more weeks. For the 4th straight day, Americans were hit by severe weather. Thunderstorms spanned the southeast yesterday with heavy rain, tennis ball-sized hail, and damaging winds. All in all, the week brought dozens of confirmed tornadoes across 20 different states, from South Dakota to Georgia. And survey teams are still doing their assessments. For parts of the country that did not see major destruction, these storms brought some good news. The nation's drought has now shrunk to its smallest area in more than 4 years. Right now, only 15% of the continental U.S. is considered in drought. And the forecast has mostly calmed down now, though there still could be some storms with damaging winds in places like Georgia and Florida today. All right, we have much more news for you still coming up. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor, Hiya Health. As busy parents, I know you do not want to have one more thing to keep track of, which is why it is so great that Hiya sends their vitamins straight to your door each month. You don't have to think about it. But even more than that, I chose Hiya because, unlike other children's vitamins that basically seem like candy in disguise, Hiya's have zero sugar and zero gummy junk, and are instead a pediatrician-approved chewable vitamin that my toddler seriously looks forward to having every single morning. I also love that you get this great convenient bottle with your first order, and then they just send you eco-friendly refills every month, so it's easy and convenient. You even get stickers that your kiddo can decorate the bottle with. My toddler really enjoyed putting his name on it. He actually got to do the vitamins bottle and the probiotics bottle because we are big fans of both in our household. So we've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you need to go to hiyahealth.com/newsworthy. The deal is not available on the regular website. Go to Hiya, Hiya Health, HEALTH.com/newsworthy and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Now back to the news. Well, don't forget, this Sunday is Mother's Day. Like most years, the most popular gifts are flowers, greeting cards, and special outings like dinner or brunch. A few other popular options are jewelry, beauty products, subscription boxes, and gift cards. But you don't have to spend big to make the moms in your life feel special. Financial experts suggest preparing meals at home, watching mom's favorite movies, or making a homemade card. Of course, this can be an especially difficult day for anyone who has a complicated relationship with their mom or whose mother has passed away. So if that's you, psychologists suggest making the day your own. You can celebrate with memories of your mother or surround yourself with the people you love. Of course, it's also okay to just avoid things that remind you of the holiday, like social media or Sunday brunch. Or you can give to other moms who need some extra help this year. We've added a link in our episode notes with one donation option. And for all the moms listening right now, we do want to say thanks for all you do, and we wish you a very happy Mother's Day. Here we go again. Another one of the largest health systems in the U.S. is dealing with a cyber attack. The healthcare nonprofit chain Ascension says the hack knocked patient record systems offline and forced medical staff to log care on paper. Some pager and emergency code systems haven't been working as usual either. Plus, the portal for patients to see their records and message their providers, called MyChart, has been unavailable, along with some phone services and systems for ordering tests, procedures, and medications. Emergency crews have been diverting patients to different hospitals, and some elective procedures and appointments have been delayed. For now, the health system says it does not have a timeline for when services will be restored. The U.S. government says it's working with Ascension leaders to help minimize any disruptions. And one spokesperson pointed out that the incident underscores the importance of strengthening cybersecurity in healthcare. Of course, this is far from the first attack like this. The FBI says it received nearly 250 reports of ransomware attacks on healthcare infrastructure last year alone. This year, Target has decided to remove LGBTQ Pride Month products from some of its stores. You'll remember last year, the retailer faced backlash over its Pride line, and there ended up being fights between some customers and employees. Some stores even got bomb threats. And Target blamed the backlash in part for a drop in sales. Well, now Bloomberg reports Target is going to be more selective and only put the Pride line in about half of its stores. It's apparently looking at store data now to decide which ones will sell the products. And Target says it still plans to offer the full assortment of merchandise online. Pride Month is celebrated every June. Apple is now apologizing for an ad that came out recently to promote its brand new iPad Pro. The company's CEO posted the video on X, and it also appeared on Apple's YouTube page. It shows a variety of creative tools, think musical instruments, a record player, cans of paint, books, toys, sculptures, and other items, being pressed by a hydraulic crusher. Eventually, all the objects are compressed into the company's new tablet. Well, it received widespread criticism from people who say it made Apple look out of touch. Many critics saw it as an ominous symbol of the company's power and its potential to replace human creativity. So now Apple's marketing VP says, quote, "We missed the mark." And he told Ad Age, Apple has decided not to run the ad on TV. Still, the video is available online. A 14-year-old has now signed on to the largest homegrown contract in Major League Soccer history. Kevin Sullivan signed a 4-year deal with the Philadelphia Union, and it includes an agreement to transfer to the English Premier League powerhouse Manchester City once he turns 18. Exact terms of the deal weren't shared, but Man City is expected to shell out $5 million when he arrives. First, though, he'll play in Philly. And the Union says when he makes his debut this summer, he'll become the youngest player to compete in a game among any of the top North American pro sports leagues. Kevin Sullivan has called this a dream come true and promises to give everything he has to the club. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you an extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you ever felt distracted at work because of something going on in your personal life, or vice versa? Sometimes the stress of just life can be distracting or even just weigh you down. But in my experience, talking it out, getting things off your chest, and maybe even having someone give you good guidance on how to handle it all moving forward can go a long way in lightening the load and making you feel like yourself. Therapy is a great place to get things off your chest, and over time, learn how to handle the stress in your life better overall. You really don't need a big traumatic reason to benefit from therapy. I like to think of it kind of like going to the gym, but to strengthen and maintain my mental health. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/newsworthy today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Feel Good Friday. So did you see this story about a beekeeper who saved the day at an MLB game last month? Well, now he has his own Topps baseball card. Matt Hilton of Blue Sky Pest Control in Phoenix was called in before a game between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was needed because a swarm of bees took up residency in the netting behind home plate, and there was a nearly 2-hour bee delay before the game could begin. Hilton was actually at his 6-year-old son's t-ball game when he got the call, but rushed right over to Arizona's Chase Field. He walked onto the pitch to a standing ovation and chants of MVP, and the stadium blasted the song "Holding Out for a Hero" while he got to work, spraying and removing the bugs with a vacuum. The bees were later released. But first, Hilton was offered the chance to throw out the first pitch. So he did, still in his beehive suit. Now, Topps has made Hilton's autographed cards emblazoned with the tagline, "Be afraid, be very afraid. Bees swarm in Arizona." The cards are on sale now at the Topps website for $9. All right, we will be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're discussing the recent protests on college campuses, including what the protests are really about and reactions to them across the political spectrum. Then join us again Monday for your next news roundup. For now, thank you so much for listening and have a great weekend.